All right. So our first question is going to come from Ryan Novozinski from the Ocali. Go ahead, Ryan.
Does it have to?
Brendon, what's up, baby? How you doing?
What's up, man? How are you?
I'm good, man. I'm good. So hey, I just wanted to ask you, about your almost improved playing time this year, and what's it been like to have sort of a bigger role in this team on this defensive line?
Means a lot. It's a lot of trust they had to put in me. I think a lot of people weren't really certain of where I was going to be after, 2 major injuries last year. Heck, I wasn't even really sure myself at times, but I think it just speaks to the hard work we put in the off season. And I think that's so much, or I guess that's what it means to the coaches. They saw the hard work I put in and was able to prove to them that I can be a real factor on this defense.
Definitely, man. And I was going to ask you too about the how like the rehab process went for you this offseason. I know that's something that you had to deal with, and just how you're feeling right now.
I feel great, or as good as I could be after 2 games. Body's holding up well. With the way the world was right now, I was able to rehab in Tulsa during the hardest part of COVID and stuff like that, and I got with some really good people there, and corresponding with Coach Glass every other day, and we were able to knock out a plan, and it really worked for me, worked for him and the trainers as well. I just want to thank everybody that got me back, really. It was a hard recovery, but it was one I think I'm better for.
Awesome, Brendon. Appreciate it, man.
Mm-hmm.
Our next question is going to come from Jenny Carlson from the Oklahoman. Go ahead, Jenny.
Hey, at least you're not as mean to me as you were to Ryan. That's nice.
Yeah, Ryan deserves it.
I'm going to just trust you on that. Hey, you guys have won these first couple games by scores that we're not exactly used to seeing in the Big 12 very much. And we don't see them very often in Stillwater either. What's it been like to see you guys on defense really kind of ruling the day for this team through the first 2 games?
I know it's a change of heart. It definitely for inside the locker room, it's different because I wouldn't say we kind of play with a chip on the shoulder from day one. Something coming into fall camp, we knew it was going to be weird. We weren't certain who was coming back, who wasn't coming back as far as offensive players go. So it was more, all right, guys, we know who we got on defense. Let's go. Let's train. If we can talk all we want about championships and conference titles and everything like that, but if we're not putting in the work and we're not winning on our side of the ball, it really means nothing. And I think Coach Knowles picked out to heart. I think leaders like Amon and those kind of guys took it to heart, and Malcolm and Cam and those kind of guys. And so I think the product's on the field right now. Obviously, time will tell how good we can be, but I have full confidence in this defense.
I know it's a lot of hard work to do what you guys do, but is it fun to see that change and things really coming to fruition for you guys as a defense?
Oh yeah, it's a blast. Getting highlight videos and stuff, and just seeing the stats and people perking up and sitting on the edge of their chairs when the defense is on the field is something we haven't had, I think, truly in a while. This is why I came here. This is what we wanted to do. This is why I signed the paper. And I'm just thankful we're reaping the reward right now, and I hope we can keep it going.
Hey, can I ask you one other thing, sort of a different track on that defensive line? Have you I know that you guys are using a lot of bodies, a lot of guys, because you have that depth and that talent, but have you started to sense rotations, guys that seem to play better together, guys you're playing alongside more? Have you sort of sensed that sort of starting to pan out on the defensive line?
I think we're so good that we can roll any 4 bodies out there, and there's no fall off. I think y'all saw that these last 2 weeks. We can roll 3 lines deep, and there's really there's no fall off. Obviously, we have some really talented guys on the edge and some guys in the middle, but I think you can mismatch those any type of way. I think that makes Joe Bob's job and Coach Rich's job really easy for them. They don't have to worry about who's going to play on Saturdays. They're just able to just write some names and go.
Thanks.
Mm-hmm.
Our next question is going to come from Marshall Levinson from Pokes Report. Go ahead, Marshall.
Hey, Brendon, thank you. This past week, Pro Football Focus has Oklahoma State as the 3rd best defensive line in college football so far, and you kind of spoke to that depth. But what can you say from where you guys have come from into now that you're a top 3 defensive line in college football?
Kind of what I was saying earlier. It's a lot of hard work. The room that we have right now has really been together since I got here. A lot of these guys, and we've grown a lot. We've seen ups and downs, especially having a new DC a couple of years ago. And I think now we've bought in more than we have ever, and kind of reaping that reward. We knew who we had coming back this year. We knew how talented we could be, but of course that's all talk. And even at this point, it's all just talk. We'll see in a few weeks if we can keep it up. We got to keep training and playing like a chip on our shoulder. But I'm glad we're reaping the reward and getting some recognition, I guess you could say.
Hey, thank you, man.
All right, Brendon, our final question is going to come from Scott Wright from the Oklahoman. Go ahead, Scott.
Hey, Brendon, when you're talking about your injuries, you kind of talked about your mental state. Were there times you thought about not playing football anymore? Did it get that serious?
Yeah, there was. I definitely went up and down with my mental state. It's something we don't really talk about in this game a lot. But when injuries hit, you just got to get through it. There was times where I contemplated leaving school. There was times I contemplated just being done with football in general. But luckily I had a great support staff, a lot of great teammates that saw me through. Forever grateful for that. But yeah, if that answers your question.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for the great support staff, I don't know if I'd still be where I am today. But
Was there any one person in particular that you leaned on a lot?
This guy sitting across from me, Eamon, he definitely a leader, and I know I can come to him for anything. I got some great coaches that I can go to talk to anytime. Coach Rich and Coach Joe, while their doors always open. And I was able to take advantage of that over the winter and stuff like that.
All right, this might be a tough one, but with Eamon sitting right there, but talk about his leadership and what it means to the team.
He's a very open guy. I think it meant a lot for him. He could have left last year. He could have went off and done great things and made money, but he came back because he believed in this defense. He believed in what Coach Knowles was drawing up for us, and I think we all kind of took notice of that. He always comes to practice and gives 110%. I don't ever see him lacking. I don't see him ever giving anything but his hardest, and I know I take notice of that, and I know everybody else in the starting 11 does too.
Thanks, bud.
Mm-hmm.
Brendon, thank you so much. We appreciate you hanging out with us here for a little bit.
Of course. Thank you, guys.
Have a good night.
You too.
Thanks.
Oh.
There are a lot of people saying a lot of nice things about you, Eamon.
Huh.
That's a good sign, right?
Yeah, I guess so. I guess I make an impact to those people. I don't know. I just be myself sometimes. So
That's good stuff. That's leadership. So I'll tell you what. So the questions are going to come in one by one here. All you got to do is just speak to the person who asked the question, okay?
All
right. So our first question is going to come from Jacob Unruh from the Oklahoman. Go ahead, Jacob.
Eamon, how's it going, man?
good. How you doing?
Good. Hey, we haven't gotten to talk to you in a long time. So can you kind of describe, you were open about having COVID and stuff. Can you describe what you went through and what that was like?
I don't know. Sometimes I regret kind of putting that out publicly, but
Yeah.
It is what it is. I mean, the first day was just crazy, because I was sitting around a bunch of dudes and they heard me get on the phone with the health department, and I was kind of like, I kind of hung up the phone slowly, and they all looking like, what happened? I was like, get away from me. And they all like splurged, like ran like roaches. When the lights turned on, they ran. It was like, oh, they started spraying everything's like, bro, you gotta go. It was like Chuba, LD, and Devin. It was like spraying everything. And, I was just kind of scrambling. I didn't know what was going on. And, I left that night, they put me in separate housing. Shout out to all them, Rod and all them for, taking care of me. And the next day, or the same day, maybe the same night, I think I put something out just to keep the awareness, because I think I was like the first college athlete to get confirmed with it. And I kind of just want to put it out like it's still out there. People we're kind of getting lackadaisical of the protocols and wearing a mask and everything. And I personally probably was too. I wasn't taking it as serious as I probably should have. But I kind of wanted to reiterate the seriousness of it. That it's still out there. And the next day was just so crazy. Everybody, news from England, France trying to talk to me, and I'm talking to the media people, Sean, Gab. I'm like, bro, what should I do? Like, should I talk to them? And they just kind of directed me, told me what to do, and I checked my screen time because I try to stay off my phone, and I think my screen time that day was like 21 hours because it just kept ringing and ringing and ringing and ringing. And I felt bad because my family members calling me, and I want to, I don't want to ignore them, but at the same time, there was probably a lot of people are telling me it's best for me to just turn off my phone. But me personally, I want to, acknowledge everybody that's trying to reach out to me. That's just the type of person I am. So my screen time was like 20 some hours or something crazy. And the next day, I think I just turned my phone off. Like, I was like, yeah, I can't do that again because I was all worked out. And then pretty much after that, the symptoms started kicking in, kicked my ass for a few days, probably like 2 days. It really hit me. And after that, kind of started going down. And it was just crazy because I was kind of the first one, like the test dummy. They did all the tests, every single test, everything to me. And, I'm glad that I got through it. And, shout out to them. They really helped me out. They tried to do everything they could to help me get out of it, because they didn't know what to do either. You expected, they was preparing for it, but at the same time, they weren't expecting it that fast. So it is what it is. I'm glad, we kind of got over that hump. But, I'm just glad to be where I'm at right now.
Do you have any lingering effects from it? Do you feel anything now? Have you noticed anything?
Nah, it was a little harder to get back in shape, I'll say, at first. But I'm starting to recover. I've been recovered, but I'm starting to, get back to full form, of where I want to be. Maybe these last few games, I probably haven't felt as good of shape as I usually am, probably because of all the breaks in camp and just due to COVID-related things, not necessarily the virus itself. But we just had so many breaks and this and that, lapses in practice that normally we would just be going on and on, so I'd be able to get in great shape. But, these first 2 games, maybe I was just trying to get back into, full shape. But now I feel pretty good. I'm getting back to where I want to be.
Thanks, Eamon.
Mm-hmm.
Our next question is going to come from Jenny Carlson from the Oklahoma. Go ahead, Jenny.
And man, you said you're starting to get back into shape. I mean, your arm day, it looks like my arm day. So, I mean, I don't know. It seems okay.
I mean,
there have to be jokes, right? Come on.
Yeah.
So the defense, these first 2 games you guys have won. I mean, great defense. You guys you even told me after the bowl game in December that this was the type of defense you guys could be. But what's it been like to be out there and now see it all come together?
It's just a shout out to those guys, for really buying in and not letting all the hype get to their heads. I kind of even said it myself. I was kind of talking a little bit on Twitter just to get some other dudes some love, so people get familiar with who we got, But, so lately, after a while of, kind of hyping everybody up, it's been on the grind. We kind of dropped all that talk. Now it's time to, put our pedal to the metal, like show what we really made of. And, all these guys been putting in work. We work hard as a unit. We want to be great. My freshman year, my sophomore year actually, my redshirt freshman year, I was part of the defense that, probably wasn't the greatest. If it was better, we would probably made the playoff. And I always looked at myself and I was like, I want to change that narrative. I want to be the team I want to be the defense that people look on to win games. Not holding their breath when we're going on the field. That kind of was something that I always wanted to pride myself on. And, it's just nice to see all these guys that, have been here with me since my freshman year kind of be on the field with me and doing great. You see Calvin, Cam, Devin, Rodarius, all those guys since 2016 kind of stuck it out and, look at where we're at now. So it's been a great journey, and I just hope we continue to write a great story.
I know, like you said, I mean, there's been so much hard work, but do you allow yourself to enjoy the fact that you won that first game, 16-7, and I mean, then, basically the offense in the West Virginia game, and Casey basically said, we're gonna, be pretty basic because we know the defense can win this game. Like, you guys winning games that way, is that fun? Do you allow yourself to have those moments of like, yeah, this is what that's what I'm talking about?
Yeah, obviously, after the game, we're going to celebrate, but at the same time, you can only celebrate and forget it. Once the game is over, pretty much after the next, when we watch the film and the tape, after that, it's business. We on to the next game. You can't hang on to a win for too long. That's how people fall asleep and, get beat in games such as this one that we're coming into. So, we celebrate, we have fun, we have a lot of energy. That's a big shout out to Coach Knowles. He supports it. He wants us to have fun. He wants us to enjoy our time and really ride on each other. We all we got. So he's kind of brought in a culture of just some swagger, just having fun, flying around and, kind of maximizing everybody's potential. And, with that, we've done great things. So we just hope to keep building.
Cool. Thanks.
No problem.
Hey, Eamon, I know you got to get in the cold tank here, so we're going to go last couple questions, all right? So the next one is going to come from Scott Wright from the Oklahoman. Go ahead, Scott.
Hey, Eamon, I want to first ask you about Brendon. What did you kind of view your role is with him and trying to help him through those injuries, and what has he meant to the defense playing the way that he has early this season?
I mean, Brendon is a guy, when he was a freshman or redshirt freshman, he was making a lot of plays, and I saw a lot of potential in him, and I always pushed him. And last year he kind of got hurt. He got banged up, and I could just tell he wasn't the same. And that kind of affected me. I don't like, it's just human nature when you're not doing, as much as you used to do. You might get forgotten a little bit. You might get left behind a little bit. And I just made it like a priority to, kind of pick him up because I knew he knows what he's capable of. But, when he's injured and not being able to produce and show that, he was down on himself a lot. So, every time I see him, I'd be in the cold tub with him. Sometimes I'll just try to, catch up with him, see how he's doing, just keep him positive, because there's always stories of things happening where people, get injured and get left behind and get forgotten and bad things can happen. So I just always try to just keep him in the loop. And, he's a vital piece of our defense now. He's starting again, doing what he has to do, doing phenomenal. And, he's just going to keep improving and getting better. And, hopefully he gets that full confidence he had, when he was really balling his, I think, redshirt freshman year. So, I'm proud of him for, kind of fighting through it, but he knows he got everybody's support.
And then Coach Knowles said that you were kind of disappointed with the way you played the Tulsa game, but then you came out and have a career day against West Virginia. What did you feel like was working well for you on last Saturday?
I mean, I was just, I was kind of more in tune. That Tulsa game, something happened where I had, to miss a couple practices and, it was just all over the place. And, just some things you see in practice that, you might think, you don't need to practice sometimes, but I feel like practice is so important so you can be on point with everything. So I had missed some practices. So, I wasn't really sharp, so the next week, I was just taking advantage of every single rep I got in practice, was just keying in on everything, trying to be as fast and decisive as I could be. And, it kind of paid off. And I'm, from now on, like I said, things happen, but every practice, I've always been like that, but, I'm even more, paying attention to detail and being as sharp as I can, because it translates into the game. And he kind of told me the same thing, just be sharp. The more sharp you are, the faster you'll react on game day.
Thanks, Eamon.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Eamon, our final question is going to come from Chris Becker from the O'Colly. Go ahead, Chris.
Hey, man, how you doing?
I'm good. How you doing?
I'm doing well. So through the first 2 weeks, the game plan has obviously been more focused on the defense, like you talked about earlier. But in the Big 12, that's not very common. How long do you think going deeper into the season you guys can sustain this focus on defense and keep playing the way you are?
Until, the offense shows who really they are. They've got a lot of talent, and it's just going to take them some time. Some things have happened, some shakeups, but, it's just a matter of time until they show who they really are and how much firepower they have, and we're offensive school. It's no surprise, but it's just going to take maybe this game is a game they finally come together and show, what we've been seeing all year, you know, what we've been expecting, you know, from the off season. You know, we know what they're capable of. You know, we're not down on them. We know, you know, they know things happen. You know, it hurts when you lose your starting quarterback in the first few drives of a game, of a season, you know, but, you know, Shane's done a great job coming in. It's just a matter of time until, you know, they start firing all cylinders, you know, and then people are going to start loving the offense again. You know, they're going to probably leave us alone. But, you know, for defense, we're just going to keep doing what we got to do. You know, if we got to win the game, we will. You know, there's nothing wrong with that. So, you know, we just can't wait till, you know, we're the complete, you know, full circle team that we know we can be.
Awesome. Thank you, Eamon.
No problem.
Well, Eamon, thanks again so much. We really do appreciate you. And again, I know that you've got to get into the cold tank and do all those types of things. So we're thankful for you.
No problem. Thank y'all. See y'all.
All right. Have a good night.
Yeah, you too.
Thanks.
Thanks, Sean.
Thank you, everybody. We really appreciate you guys hanging out with us as well. Take care and have a good night.